Let me tell you something right now. Discipline is the difference between being average and being unstoppable. People out here are waiting for motivation like it's some magical lightning bolt that's going to strike them one morning and suddenly turn them into millionaires, athletes, warriors. That's not how life works. Motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a decision. Discipline is doing what needs to be done when you don't feel like it. It's hitting the gym when your body aches, grinding your business when your friends are out partying, reading books while everyone else is watching mindless trash. Discipline is pain now for power later. Most people are soft. They break at the first sign of resistance. You want to be different. Then you need to stop negotiating with your excuses. You don't need more time. You need more discipline. Your problem isn't that you're too busy. It's that you're not prioritizing the right things. Winners don't need to be told what to do. They wake up and do it. They don't care how they feel. Discipline is what separates the top 1% from the rest. It's the reason the weak stay weak and the strong keep rising. You think champions care about comfort? No. They train through exhaustion. They build when nobody's watching. That's what makes them lethal. The truth is, discipline is the highest form of self-respect. If you respect yourself, you'll stop feeding your brain garbage. You'll stop wasting your time on distractions. And you'll start living with purpose. Every day you slack is a day someone else gains on you. Every day you skip is a day you stay broke, out of shape, invisible. So the question is, are you going to keep living on autopilot? Or are you going to lock in, build discipline like a muscle, and start dominating? Because once discipline becomes your lifestyle, you become untouchable. Most people hear the word discipline and immediately think of something negative. They think of punishment, limitations, or something that takes the fun out of life. That's exactly why they stay stuck where they are. They think discipline is about cutting everything off, being robotic, and not enjoying yourself. But what they don't understand is that discipline is not about restriction. It's about liberation. Real freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you feel like. It comes from doing what's necessary, consistently, to gain control over your life. Let me ask you something. Is the guy who eats whatever he wants, sleeps in every day, avoids challenges, and escapes into comfort really free? Or is he a slave to his cravings, his laziness, his fears? Because the truth is, if you can't say no to your impulses, if you're constantly pulled by instant gratification, you're not free. You're imprisoned by your own weakness. Discipline gives you the ability to say no to things that weaken you, and yes, to things that empower you. That's freedom. Freedom is waking up early because you choose to, not because you're forced to by some external pressure. Freedom is working hard on your craft so that you never have to beg for opportunities. You create your own. Freedom is not depending on anyone because you've built your own foundation, brick by brick, through discipline. People think freedom is lying around all day doing nothing. That's not freedom. That's decay. True freedom is having the body you want because you trained every day. It's having money in the bank because you worked when others partied. It's having peace in your mind because you didn't waste your life on nonsense. Freedom is walking into any room knowing you earned your place, not hoping you're good enough. Look around. The world is full of people who confuse comfort with happiness. They avoid discipline because it feels hard in the short term. But in doing that, they sign up for long-term regret. They chase ease now and suffer later. But if you flip that, if you embrace discipline now, you suffer a little in the moment, but you gain power, confidence, and self-respect that most people will never touch. Discipline is the backbone of every great life. Show me someone successful, powerful, sharp, and I'll show you someone who wakes up before they want to, does the work they don't feel like doing, and repeats that cycle every day without excuses. They aren't controlled by emotions, they control them. They don't need motivation. They rely on standards. That's what discipline gives you. The ability to act beyond how you feel. You know what's actually restrictive? Living paycheck to paycheck because you were too lazy to learn skills. Feeling tired and weak because you never pushed yourself physically, wasting years of your life because you never planned ahead. That's restriction. That's the real trap. The truth is, discipline opens doors. It gives you access to things most people will never experience. When you live with discipline, you build momentum. You become more focused, more capable, more dangerous. You begin to see the world differently, not as a place full of obstacles, but as a place full of opportunities that you're actually prepared to seize. That's not restriction. That's the ultimate freedom. So the next time you hear the word discipline and feel resistance, rewire that. Stop acting like it's some kind of punishment. It's a gift. It's a tool that forges strength out of struggle. It's the path to becoming who you were meant to be. You don't need more freedom to do whatever you want. You need the freedom to do what's right, consistently. And that only comes from discipline. The world is chaotic. Life will throw chaos at you daily. The only way to stay grounded, sharp, and ahead is by living with discipline. It's not a cage, it's a weapon. Use it. Everyone's got potential. That's the easy part. People love to talk about it too. He's got so much talent. She's really gifted. If only I had that kind of brain or body. But here's the reality. Potential without discipline is just wasted opportunity. It means nothing. You could have the brain of a genius, the genetics of an athlete, or the creativity of a world-class artist. But if you lack the discipline to develop it, refine it, and put it to work every single day, then you're going nowhere. Potential isn't power. Execution is. There are people walking around every day who could have been something extraordinary, but they're stuck in the same routine day after day because they never had the self-control to put their gifts to use. They talk about their ideas, they dream big, they plan, but they never act consistently. They want the reward without the repetition. They want greatness, but they don't want to put in the boring, grueling, uncomfortable hours it takes to get there. That's the difference between people who win and people who watch others win. Your potential means absolutely nothing without discipline behind it. You can be the smartest person in the room, but if you don't have the guts to stay focused, the patience to keep grinding when results are slow, and the mental toughness to push through resistance, then your intelligence goes to waste. Talent gets you in the game, but discipline keeps you in it long enough to win. That's the truth people don't want to hear. They want shortcuts, hacks, motivation. What they need is structure and grit. You're not going to feel like working every day. That's normal. Nobody does. The trick is doing the work anyway. That's what discipline is. You don't wait for motivation. You don't let your feelings control your behavior. You decide what needs to be done, and then you do it no matter what. You stay consistent even when it's boring. You show up even when it's uncomfortable. You execute even when no one is watching. That's how potential becomes power. Look at the people at the top of any field. Business, sports, art, science. Sure, they may have started with talent, but they built empires through repetition, habits, sacrifice, and discipline. That's what you don't see on Instagram. You don't see the lonely nights, the early mornings, the sacrifices, the failures, the relentless effort. You just see the outcome. But that outcome is the product of relentless discipline. Day after day, year after year. That's what sharpens potential into results. And here's something else people forget. If you don't use your potential, it fades. Skills that aren't developed die. Strength that's not trained weakens. Creativity that's ignored dries up. You can't just sit on your potential and expect it to be there forever. If you don't use it, you lose it. That's why discipline isn't just important, it's urgent. It's the only way to make sure you don't waste what you were given. Most people aren't lacking in talent. They're lacking in consistency. They dabble in things, try for a week or two, then quit because it's hard. Newsflash, everything worthwhile is hard. Building a great body is hard. Starting a business is hard. Becoming mentally unshakable is hard. And that's exactly why it requires discipline. If it were easy, everyone would have it, but they don't. Because they'd rather coast on potential than build something real. You've got something inside you Maybe it's strength, intelligence, creativity, leadership. But none of it matters unless you lock in and use it. And the only way to use it effectively, day in and day out, is through discipline. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you could become. Without it, that bridge never gets built, and you stay stuck on the side of what if and almost. So the next time you catch yourself saying you've got potential, ask yourself this: what are you actually doing with it? Are you putting in the reps? Are you staying consistent? Are you disciplined enough to keep pushing when it's uncomfortable? Because if the answer is no, then your potential doesn't mean a damn thing. Discipline is what turns dreams into results. And without it, all you've got is wasted talent. Feelings are the most unreliable guides you could ever follow. One day you feel unstoppable. The next day you feel like quitting. That's normal. That's human. But if you let your emotions run the show, you'll be chasing progress in circles forever. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't care if you're tired, if you're sad, if you're not in the mood. It doesn't ask for permission. It demands that you act, regardless of your emotional state. And that right there is where real power begins. If you only move when you're motivated, you're weak. Motivation is like a spark. It comes and goes usually when you least expect it. It's a luxury, not a foundation. Discipline is what builds your foundation. It's what gets you out of bed before the sun. It's what makes you train when your body aches, grind when your mind wants rest, and keep going when everything in you says, quit. It's the part of you that doesn't negotiate, that doesn't bargain with excuses, that doesn't give in just because you feel off. You need to understand that your emotions will lie to you. They'll tell you to take the easy route, to wait for the right time, to avoid discomfort. But discipline, it's honest. It tells you what needs to be done, and it tells you every day. The real test is whether you'll listen. Most people won't. They'd rather let their feelings decide their future. But your feelings are temporary. Your future is permanent. If you live by emotion, you'll always be at the mercy of your weakest moment. If you live by discipline, you'll always move forward, no matter how you feel. There will be days when you feel drained, days when everything seems pointless, days when you question if it's even worth it. That's where most people stop. But that's where discipline steps up. Discipline is that inner voice that says, I don't care how you feel, show up anyway. And if you listen to that voice enough times, something changes. You become dependable. You become resilient. You become someone who doesn't fold under pressure, who doesn't crumble when life throws a punch. You become dangerous in the best way. You'll never be great if you only work when it's easy. Champions are built in the moments when no one's watching, when it's cold, when it's inconvenient, when it hurts. That's when the separation happens. That's when you become who you're supposed to be. You want results. Show me what you do when you're not feeling it. Anyone can post motivation online. Anyone can make promises when they're pumped up, but the real ones, they execute on their worst day just like they do on their best. Your ability to act despite your emotions is the most underrated skill in the world. Everyone wants to feel good before doing the work, but that's not how life rewards you. Life rewards the consistent, the relentless, the disciplined. You don't have to feel ready. You just have to act. The feelings might follow, or they might not. Doesn't matter. Action is what counts. Action builds momentum. Action builds results. And every time you act when you don't feel like it, you reinforce a mindset that separates you from the average. Think about this. Every time you skip a task because you don't feel like it, you train yourself to quit. You tell your brain that emotion is more powerful than effort. But every time you push through, even a little, you train yourself to lead, to dominate, to win. That's how discipline rewires you. It doesn't erase emotion. It just puts it in its place. It tells your feelings to sit down while your actions take the wheel. So the next time you don't feel like working, don't wait for inspiration. Don't scroll for motivation. Don't whine about being tired or overwhelmed. Just move. Do the thing. Lift the weight. Make the call. Write the page. Because discipline isn't about how you feel. It's about what you do. And the ones who win in life, they're the ones who do it anyway. Everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants to rise, to dominate, to win. But very few people understand the real foundation of that kind of success. It's not luck. It's not genius. It's not even talent. It's consistency. And the only thing that builds consistency is discipline. You don't just wake up consistent. You become consistent by doing what needs to be done over and over again, whether you feel like it or not. That's the formula. That's how empires are built. There are too many people chasing quick results. They want instant gratification, immediate recognition, fast money. But nothing great was ever built overnight. Every skyscraper stands on a foundation of repetition. Every empire is the result of years of relentless, disciplined effort. You can't cheat the process. You can't skip the grind. If you're not consistent, you'll never be in the game long enough to win. And if you're not disciplined, you'll never be consistent. Think about the gym. Anyone can go one day and train hard. That's not special. What's special is showing up 5 days a week for 5 years. That's consistency. That's what creates real strength. The same goes for business, for learning, for self-mastery. One good day doesn't change your life. 10 years of focused, disciplined consistency does. But that doesn't sound exciting, does it? That's why most people ignore it. They want the spark, not the system. But it's the system that wins. Discipline gives your life structure. It forces you to keep showing up no matter the weather, no matter the mood, no matter the outcome. And when you show up consistently, your skills evolve, your habits sharpen, your mindset transforms. You begin to move differently. You stop looking for excuses and start looking for progress. You stop chasing motivation and start building identity. You're no longer someone who tries. You become someone who just does. And that shift is powerful. Success isn't a result, it's a routine. It's the sum total of what you repeatedly do. That's why discipline matters so much. Without it, your routine crumbles the moment things get uncomfortable. With it, you become unshakable. You build a rhythm that keeps moving forward, even when the world tells you to stop. And the longer you hold that rhythm, the more unstoppable you become. Most people lose because they're inconsistent. They go hard for a few days, then disappear. They make a big plan, get excited, then fall off. They chase the high, not the habit. But you're not going to build anything that lasts if you're constantly restarting. You need momentum. And momentum is only built through disciplined repetition. Show up every day. Stick to the plan. Keep going when it gets boring. That's how real success is earned. The truth is, consistent effort looks boring on the outside. It's not flashy, it's not dramatic. It's just work. But that boring, disciplined routine, that's what separates the elite from the average. While others are distracted, giving up, or chasing shortcuts, the disciplined are executing day in and day out. And after a while, they're not just ahead. They're untouchable. You want an extraordinary life. It starts with doing ordinary things with extraordinary discipline. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about creating powerful habits and repeating them until they become automatic. That's how you build a legacy. That's how you go from ordinary to elite. Not in a week, not in a month. Over time, with consistency, discipline is the engine, consistency is the road. And that road leads to everything you've ever wanted. So stop waiting for the right mood, the right timing, the right energy. Just start. Keep going. Repeat. Because the ones who win are the ones who never stop. They may not be the loudest. They may not be the most gifted. But they're the most disciplined. And that's why they win. Too many people wait to feel successful before they act successful. They wait for the mood, the motivation, the perfect energy to align before they make a move. That's weakness. That's a fantasy. Success isn't something that just shows up and taps you on the shoulder. Success is a decision. A cold, calculated decision to do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. You don't wait for it. You declare it. You commit to it. And then you back it with relentless discipline. People act like success is a mystery, like it's reserved for the chosen few. It's not. It's available to everyone, but only those who are willing to put feelings aside and take action day in and day out. The world doesn't care how you feel. Your bank account doesn't care. Your goals don't care. You either do what it takes or you don't. You either decide or you delay. There is no middle ground. And the longer you wait to feel ready, the further behind you fall. The truth is, you don't become successful because you feel good. You become successful because you made a decision and you honor it, no matter what. That means showing up when you're tired. That means working when you're uninspired. That means sticking to the plan when everything in you wants to quit. That's discipline. That's what separates the people who talk about success from the ones who live it. Most people never reach their potential because they live by emotion instead of decision. They let how they feel in the moment override what they promised themselves in the past. They start strong, then fade. They make a commitment, then justify their way out of it the moment it gets uncomfortable. But if you're serious about winning, you don't give your feelings that much power. You make a decision, and you follow it with action, not excuses. Discipline is the bridge between decision and result. Anyone can make a decision. That's easy. Saying, I want to be great is cheap. What matters is what comes after. Will you actually show up? Will you stay locked in? Will you keep going when no one's clapping for you? If the answer is no, then your decision means nothing. Words without discipline are just noise. Once you make the decision to be successful, your feelings don't get a vote anymore. You don't need to feel motivated. You don't need to feel excited. You just need to do the work. Discipline trains you to do what's right, not what's easy. It hardens your mind, sharpens your focus, and builds your identity. You're no longer someone chasing potential. You're someone fulfilling it. And that shift, that's everything. There's a moment in every person's life when they realize no one's coming to save them. No one's going to hand them the life they want. That moment is brutal, but it's necessary because once you understand that it's on you, you gain control. And when you're in control, you can build anything if you're disciplined enough to follow through. That's when your decisions start to shape reality. So stop asking yourself how you feel. Start asking yourself what needs to be done. Then do it. Don't negotiate. Don't whine. Don't wait for some magical surge of energy. Just act. Every time you do, you get stronger. Every time you honor your decision with discipline, you move closer to the life you claim to want. That's the formula. Decide, then act again and again until success is no longer a dream, but your standard. It's not about hype. It's not about excitement. It's about execution every single day. If you can master that, you can have anything you want. Because the ones who win in life aren't the ones who feel the best. They're the ones who do the most, no matter how they feel. Success isn't a mood, it's a mission. And discipline is how you fulfill it. Most people hear the word discipline and instantly think of suffering. They associate it with sacrifice, struggle, and missing out. That's because they've been conditioned to believe that freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want. But that kind of freedom is a trap. It leads to chaos. It leads to disappointment. It leads to a life filled with excuses, not results. Real freedom, the kind that brings success, strength, and self-respect, only comes through discipline. When you're undisciplined, your life is ruled by impulses. You eat what feels good in the moment. You skip what's hard. You lie to yourself to stay comfortable. You delay your goals in favor of instant pleasure. And over time, you build a habit of quitting. You build a lifestyle of mediocrity. That's not freedom. That's a slow death. Because every shortcut you take now will cost you later. Every excuse you make stacks up into regret. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you lose a piece of your potential. Discipline is the opposite. Discipline is choosing growth over ease. It's choosing responsibility over chaos. It's being in control of your mind, your habits, and your actions. When you're disciplined, you don't live at the mercy of moods or distractions. You decide who you are and you back it with action. That's real power. That's real freedom. Not having to apologize to yourself every night for what you didn't do. Not having to start over again and again because you keep slipping into old patterns. Not waking up with regret weighing on your chest. Discipline frees you from all that. There's a freedom in looking in the mirror and knowing you did what needed to be done. There's a freedom in knowing that while the world was distracted, you were focused. While others were resting, you were building. While most people made excuses, you made moves. That confidence can't be bought. It can't be faked. It's earned through the grind, through consistency, through doing the work even when you don't feel like it. A disciplined life is a simple life. You don't waste energy on decision fatigue. You don't bounce between failures and false starts. You lock in. You stay locked in. You become a machine, focused, determined, unshakable. And that's where momentum is built. That's where greatness comes from. Not from random bursts of effort, but from discipline stacked over days, weeks, months. It becomes who you are. People think discipline is restrictive, that it holds you back. But that's because they've never experienced what real freedom feels like. They don't know the pride that comes from self-mastery. They've never tasted the reward of pushing through resistance. They've never lived a day where they didn't betray themselves. That's the truth. The undisciplined are slaves to comfort. The disciplined, they own themselves. They own their outcomes. They own their future. Think about what your life would look like if you were truly disciplined. Imagine your body, your mind, your relationships, your money, your time, all sharpened, organized, and moving forward. That's not suffering. That's power. That's purpose. That's real freedom. You're no longer reacting to life. You're creating it. Every move is intentional. Every day is a step forward. And when you live like that, nothing can stop you. Not failure, not fear, not fatigue. It all comes down to one choice. Are you willing to trade short-term comfort for long-term freedom? Are you willing to suffer a little now so you can win big later? Because freedom isn't free. It has a cost, and the price is discipline. But once you pay it, once you embrace it, you'll never go back. You'll never want the weak version of yourself again. You'll never crave the easy way again. You'll be too focused, too strong, too free. Discipline is the key. Not because it limits your life, but because it unlocks it. You don't have to guess anymore. You don't have to hope. You build. You conquer. You rise. That's what happens when you stop running from discipline and start living through it.